Hi, today I'm going to be sharing with you how I add heat to my heat-friendly synthetic wigs. And today we're going to be working with Seville. That's this wig. It's by Belle Tres. And I often get a lot of questions, and we talk about when do I need to add heat and when do I really just need to wash my wig and start from scratch or restyle the whole wig. So for me, these are my kind of tried and true ideas of what works for me. I wash my wig every 35 to 40 hours. And when I first started wearing wigs, I would hear people say, oh, I wash it every 8 to 10 days or every 6 to 8 days. Well, for me, it really mattered if I was wearing the wig 4 hours for one of those days or 10 hours for one of those days. So for me, I noticed that my wigs need to be washed about 35 to 40 hours. And I know that because they started getting super clumpy together. I mean, I wash it before that if I need to. If I notice that the cap has, is a little soiled, I will wash the wig before that. But it's usually about 35 to 40 hours. And it's based on, really how the fibers are sticking together, if it just feels like it needs a good cleansing. So for me today, I'm going to be just adding heat to this heat-friendly synthetic wig, and only in the areas that I know that it needs heat. So how do I know where it needs heat? So for me, if I have a straight wig, I will use a wig brush. Only use a wig brush for synthetic wigs. Don't use a regular brush. You will mess up your wig. So when I have straight wigs, I will brush them in the morning or in the evening. So if I notice that, see in the front, it's really not pulling too much. I have a couple tangles here, but when I get to the back and I notice that the brush is really grabbing in this section, and I always start at the bottom, never start at the top. You brush out from the bottom. But as you can see, it's starting to get a little matted here and a little crunchy. So I've noticed that one section, and I'm like, in the back. So often where I end up needing to add heat is really at the nape, because that's where the friction is, either on my clothes or the back of my neck. So as you can see here, we're starting to mat together a little bit here. So this is where I am going to be adding heat to this wig. And I'm going to show you exactly how I do that. The first thing I want to share with you, though, are the products that I use when I'm adding heat. And you can check them out, what I use. I do use a cork or foam head. It does have a base to it. I've already mounted the base. And as you see, mine has a 20.5. Definitely measure your head before you buy a foam head. You don't want a head that is too large, that stretches out the cap of your wig. So I bought a 20.5. I know that my head circumference is 21.5, so I got it a little bit smaller. So I will need this. Then you'll need these clips, and I use a lot of these products very often. So you need these clips. I'm going to use these when I'm pulling hair back that I don't need to be trimming up or cleaning up. I also have these pins. They look like this. A few of them to hold my wig into place onto the cork head. I also have, like I said, my wig brush. And I do have a rat tail comb. You don't normally use a rat tail comb on a wig because it's just not great for the wig to use it regularly, but I will be using this when I am straightening out and cleaning up my heat-friendly fibers in the back. And it just makes everything a little bit smoother. Now, I try to use as little product as I need to in my wigs. It just, for me, cuts down on how often I need to wash the products, because I do feel like they get some buildup. When I first started wearing wigs, I used a detangling spray all the time, and I used way too much of it, and I found out I had to wash my wigs a lot more. So I will probably be using water in the back of my wig. You always need to make sure you mist your wigs if you're adding any heat to them. So I have this water bottle, and I like it. It comes out in a fine mist. I do have this just in case I think I'm going to need it. This is the Jean Renault 3. It's the smooth detangling spray made for heat synthetic wigs. And the tool that I know I'm going to be using is my Longe. And I like this tool because for heat-friendly wigs, you need to add heat, but for them to hold the style, they need to cool down. So this tool particularly, you can use whatever you want, but this tool particularly has a fan built in, and I know that it cools the fiber as it's setting the curl or the straightening so that it maintains the style. So, and I can adjust the temperature. So again, for heat-friendly synthetic wigs, you do add heat, but you don't add a lot of heat. I always keep it below 300 degrees. That's my preference. You'll always make sure you check the specifications by the manufacturer. So these are the tools that I use, and we are going to get right into it. And we're back. I don't usually do this in the kitchen, but I think it's better lighting in here, and you can see a little bit more about how I actually take care of my heat-friendly synthetic wigs. So let's just get right into it. First, here's the foam head, and it's mounted to my countertop here. So it's nice and secure. I love it because I can tilt it around if I need to be able to do that. This is what we're going to be working with today. So this is Seville. She doesn't need a total wash or anything else. We're literally cleaning up. You can see she's starting to really tangle here in the back, and that's what we're going to be working with. When I talk to other women and they don't like heat-friendly synthetic wigs, they really talk about not knowing how to add heat or when to add heat or how much to add heat. So hopefully this just shows you a little bit today. So you can see I've mounted her on here. To keep her into place, I use my stick pins. I'm just going to place probably 4 in there just to keep everything right where I need it to be. See, I can turn her if I need to. So now I'm ready to go. Now, as I mentioned, I'm not going to be restyling all of this wig, but I am going to brush her out. And I mentioned often that I only like to use water. I mean, I do have my synthetic smooth detangler spray that I could use if I think I need to do it, but let's start with some water and see. I'm going to miss the whole thing. And keep in mind too, you only need to add heat if you're trying to change the curl pattern or you need to refresh it. I have my brush here. I'm going to use my wig brush. Let's start here near the bottom, and I'm going to rotate her all around. So here we're brushing her out, and I'm not going to be refreshing all of this because I can feel as I'm brushing through it, it's smoothing out some, but definitely here in the back. And water was just fine. I'm going to add a little bit more water back here and brush her out because we want to make sure before we add any heat there are no tangles in it that we can avoid. Now, I know that I'm not doing all of this. I don't think I'm going to need to do all of this, so let's pull her out of the way, and I'm going to clip her up. And we're going to clip a little bit more because I only like to work in small sections at a time, especially if I don't think she's going to be needing heat everywhere. I just, clip her up a little bit around there. All right, so now I think we're pretty much ready. So I'm going to add heat here because I do know where she rubs on my clothes, she gets a little crispy in those areas. Always add water before you add any heat to it, and you may hear a sizzle. That's okay. We're going to comb her out. She still feels pretty good right here. I'm going to skip that section. Here's where I'm noticing that she needs it. And here you can probably even see she's starting to get some fraying on the ends, these fibers do. So this is what I do. I've already got my tool on and it's set on the lowest temperature. I'm gonna turn the fan on now. And again, this is probably not the recommendation by the manufacturer. This is what I do. This is what works for me. But this is how I clean up the ends of my wig. I hold the comb right to it, just like this, and I add heat. And I'm pulling down behind the comb. And I'm always keeping it moving. I do a few passes. It is on low heat, so I do a few passes. And you can already see that the fibers look really nice. They're very smooth. So we're gonna rotate through the bottom half of this. Again, I can feel it. It's a little crispy down there. And by crispy, I just mean it feels like the fibers get stuck. They get a little gunky together. So here I take my heat tool, right at my comb line. I'm not pulling or anything. And at the end, I kind of give it a curl under because I do like to have a little bit of style on there. So we're gonna give her probably 3 passes, but as you see, I'm keeping it moving. And when you're doing this in your bathroom or wherever you're gonna be doing that, it's gonna be a lot faster than when I'm doing it since I'm showing you. But this is a very fast activity. I can do this in 5 minutes at the end of the evening or whenever I think I need to be refreshing the wig. So again, quick pull through. See, there's still a little snag there. And same thing, let's check over here. This section needs a little bit, and I can feel it when I'm pulling it through. You can even see probably some of the fraying here at the ends of the wig. So this is why we're doing the refresher for it. So I'm not putting tension, I'm just holding, pulling. I can feel it, it's so much smoother already. Now I'll unclip a piece and we'll take a quick check. See, she still looks pretty good right here. So I don't need to refresh all of these ends. Let's see if any more rubbing from the sides. And I love this head because I can rotate it if I need to, using my wig brush on my straight wig. It's very smooth, I can feel it. Nothing rough. Here's a rough piece here because it's in the back and it's rubbing on my clothes. About 3 passes usually does it for me. And here too at the very ends, I can feel it and she is damp. Let's pull it through. And same thing, very ends. And as you see, I'm not touching the whole wig, only the parts that need an update. This one too. And you can even see after you look at them how much smoother these ends are. I could probably do it again right there. Give it a one more pass and always keep it moving. All right, we'll check out the back here. And because this part is not rubbing on my clothes, again, only style what you need to style. You don't need to be adding a bunch of heat to something that doesn't need it. But I can feel it, it's much smoother. I did not end up needing the detangling spray. For me, the water was plenty. And so here, let's see if we can get a good view here of the ends. And they feel much nicer. They don't feel as dry. And then what I will do before I'm finished is I will add some silicone spray. I add Simply Styling to the bottom of it, just in the very back here. It helps with the friction. It helps maintain my wig. I don't use a lot of it. Hope this information helps you, and I will see you next time.